Most people spend Lincoln pennies without looking, and that can be a costly mistake. Some rare dates, wheat versions, and mint errors turn these 1-cent coins into serious money. Before you use that penny, take a closer look. It might be worth a lot more than you think. The 1999 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin that most people have handled countless times without giving it a second thought. It's small, copper-colored, lightweight, and completely familiar. It passes quietly through cash registers, sits forgotten in jars of loose change, or ends up at the bottom of drawers where it stays for years. At first glance, there is nothing about a 1999 penny that seems special. But hidden among the millions struck that year are rare mint errors so unusual and so valuable that certain examples have sold for astonishing amounts, reaching prices between $58,850 and $140,900 at major auctions. To understand how a modern penny can reach such heights, it helps to imagine the environment inside the U.S. Mint in 1999. This was a period of heavy coin production. Machines ran at extremely high speeds, feeding blank planchets into presses nonstop. Dies were used continuously, sometimes pushed close to their limits. While quality control was strict, minting is still a mechanical process, and even the smallest malfunction can lead to something extraordinary. A planchet might shift slightly, a die might crack, a foreign object might slip into the press, or an incorrect blank might be fed into the system. Most of these mistakes are caught and destroyed, but occasionally one escapes. Those survivors are the coins collectors search for decades later. One of the most visually striking errors found on 1999 pennies is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned under the die at the moment of striking. The result is a coin where part of the design is pushed toward one edge, leaving a blank area of exposed metal. Minor off-center strikes are relatively common and not especially valuable. But when the misalignment exceeds 50%, the coin becomes a serious rarity. A 1999 penny struck about 55% off-center, with the date still visible, sold for $5,300. Another example with a dramatic 70% off-center strike reached $9,800, largely because the error was bold, clean, and visually unmistakable. These coins are instantly recognizable, even to people with no numismatic background. Another highly desirable error from 1999 is the double strike. This happens when a coin is struck once, but instead of being ejected from the press, it shifts position and receives a second blow. When that second strike is offset or rotated, the results can be spectacular. Lincoln's portrait may appear twice, slightly overlapping or separated. Letters and numbers can look stretched, doubled, or ghost-like. A 1999 penny with a second strike rotated about 25 degrees sold for $14,900, while another with two, nearly complete impressions layered on top of one another brought $22,600 at auction. These pieces are especially prized because they show clear evidence of a mechanical failure frozen in metal. But the most valuable and sought-after errors from 1999 fall into a rare category known as wrong planchet strikes. This type of error occurs when a penny design is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, or even for a foreign coin. These errors are extremely rare in modern minting, which is why they command such high prices. One notable example is a 1999 penny struck on a dime planchet. Because the dime blank is smaller and silver-colored, the penny design didn't fit properly, leaving parts of the image cut off and creating an entirely different appearance. That coin sold for $58,850, shocking many collectors who never expected such a modern penny to reach that level. Even more impressive is the most valuable known 1999 penny error, a penny struck on a foreign planchet. The metal composition was different, the diameter didn't match any U.S. coin, and the edges were irregular. Lincoln's portrait appeared incomplete, and some lettering extended off the surface entirely. Certified in high mint state condition, this remarkable error sold for $140,900, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln memorial cents ever produced. Its rarity, condition, and dramatic appearance combined to create a perfect storm for collectors. The year 1999 also produced interesting struck-through errors. These occur when a foreign object, such as grease, metal shavings, fibers, or debris, gets trapped between the die and the planchet during striking. The result can be missing details, smooth blank areas, or deep impressions. A 1999 penny struck through heavy grease, which erased much of Lincoln's facial detail, sold for $1,350. Another struck through a piece of metal debris, leaving a pronounced indentation across the reverse, reached $2,100. These errors are popular because each one is unique, depending on what object caused the obstruction. Another type of error seen on 1999 pennies is the broad strike. This happens when the collar that normally shapes the edge of the coin fails to engage. Without the collar, the penny spreads outward during striking, becoming wider and thinner, with a smooth or poorly defined rim. A broad strike penny from 1999 in mint state condition sold for $1,400, while a more extreme example combined with a slight off-center strike reached $2,850. These coins stand out immediately because their shape is noticeably different from a normal penny. Die-related errors are also common in this year. Die cracks, die breaks, and cuts form as dies wear down or fracture from heavy use. Die cracks appear as raised lines across the coin, while cuds look like blobs of extra metal where a piece of the die has broken away. A 1999 penny with a large cud along the rim sold for $1,550, and another with a dramatic die crack running through Lincoln's portrait reached $2,200. These errors may not reach five-figure prices, but collectors enjoy them because no two are exactly alike. Another intriguing error is the partial collar strike, where part of the rim is formed correctly and part is flattened or distorted. A high-grade example from 1999 sold for $1,100, showing that even subtle mechanical issues can attract solid bids when the coin is well preserved. What makes the 1999 penny especially exciting is how recent it is. This isn't a coin from the early 1900s or a rare wheat sent from the distant past. Many 1999 pennies are still in circulation or sitting in household coin jars right now. That means it's entirely possible that valuable error coins from this year remain undiscovered. Someone could have a penny worth thousands sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a car console, or a piggy bank. If you ever come across a 1999 penny that looks unusual, whether it has an odd color, an irregular shape, a shifted design, or duplicated details, it's worth taking a closer look. Small differences can signal big value, but there's one rule every collector agrees on: never clean a potentially valuable coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces, damages the metal, and can dramatically reduce the coin's value. If a coin seems promising, it should be stored safely and sent to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Certification not only confirms authenticity but also makes the coin far more desirable to buyers. The 1999 Lincoln penny proves that even in the modern era, with advanced machinery and strict quality controls, mistakes still happen. And when they do, they can transform a simple 1-cent coin into a remarkable collectible. The most valuable examples, wrong planchet strikes, dramatic double strikes, and extreme off-center errors, have sold for $58,850 to $140,900, numbers few people would ever associate with a penny. So the next time you see a 1999 penny, don't dismiss it too quickly. Turn it over. Look closely at the edges, the color, the alignment of the design. You might not be holding just another cent. You could be holding a rare survivor of a minting error, a small piece of history that slipped through unnoticed, and a hidden treasure waiting to be recognized. The 2005 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of those coins that slips through daily life almost unnoticed. Light, copper-colored, familiar in every way, it passes from hand to hand without anyone imagining that some versions of this same coin are worth far more than anyone would expect. It sits in pockets, in car cup holders, in cash registers, in jars full of change that nobody sorts anymore. But among the millions of pennies minted in 2005, there exist rare, dramatic, and astonishing mint errors that have sent collectors into bidding wars, with certain examples selling for anywhere between $49,600 and $131,890 at major coin auctions. To understand how a modern penny can reach such incredible values, we need to picture the U.S. Mint in 2005. High-speed machinery struck tens of thousands of pennies per hour. Cospels fed into presses automatically. Dies worked constantly, and operators monitored the flow of production with precision. But even with the best technology, perfect consistency is impossible. A tiny vibration, a misaligned feed, A worn die, or a stray foreign planchet slipping into the system is enough to create an error coin, one that never should have existed. Most of these errors are caught and destroyed, but a small handful escape into circulation, waiting, sometimes for decades, to be discovered. One of the most visually striking errors from 2005 is the off-center strike, a classic mistake that occurs when the planchet is not perfectly aligned under the die. Instead of receiving a clean, centered impression, the design shifts to one side, leaving a blank arc of untouched metal. A 2005 penny with a minor off-center strike isn't worth much. But when the shift reaches 50% or more, the value increases dramatically. One example with a 55% off-center strike sold for $4,850, while another with nearly 70% displacement, so extreme that part of Lincoln's face was pushed off the coin, reached $8,900 at auction. Off-center errors are instantly recognizable even to non-collectors, which is part of their appeal. Another valuable and highly visual error is the double strike, which happens when a coin is struck twice because it fails to eject properly. If the coin shifts or rotates between the strikes, the result can be spectacular. Two portraits overlapping, doubled letters, distorted numbers, and shapes that look as if the coin was printed twice by accident. A 2005 penny with a second strike rotated about 30 degrees sold for $13,400, while a dramatic example showing two nearly complete impressions reached $21,500. These coins look like frozen moments of mechanical failure, art created by accident. But the errors that command the highest prices, the ones that reach $49,600 to $131,890, belong to an extremely rare category: the wrong planchet strikes. These errors occur when a penny design is mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even for a foreign coin. When that happens, the final piece often has the wrong color, wrong weight, wrong diameter, and a design that doesn't fit fully on the surface. One striking example is a 2005 Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet. Because the dime blank is smaller and silver-colored, the resulting coin appears silvery rather than copper, with Lincoln's portrait incomplete and the edges showing missing details. This incredible error sold for $49,600, shocking collectors who rarely see such mistakes in modern minting. But the record breaker is even more extraordinary. A 2005 penny struck on a foreign planchet, slightly smaller with a darker alloy, left part of the design hanging off the edge. The weight didn't match a penny or any known U.S. denomination. Certified at Mint State 66, this one-of-a-kind piece sold for $131,890, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln penny errors ever discovered. Other rare errors from 2005 involve missing clad layers, although these are more common in dimes and quarters. For pennies, the parallel error is the missing copper plating that can occur when the thin outer layer of copper does not adhere properly to the zinc core. A 2005 penny missing its outer plating on one side, revealing the silver-colored zinc beneath, sold for $5,600, while another missing plating on both sides reached $9,750. These coins look almost unreal, as if someone peeled the copper off. The 2005 penny is also known for errors caused by damaged dies. Die cracks, die chips, and cuds. These appear as raised lines, blobs of extra metal, or large bumps where part of the die has broken away. A 2005 penny with a large cud on the rim sold for $1,350, while another with an impressive die crack running across the obverse reached $1,900. These errors may not hit huge values, but collectors love them because each one is unique. Another fascinating error from 2005 is the struck-through error, created when something becomes trapped between the planchet and the die during striking. It can be grease, metal shavings, cloth fibers, or even bits of paper. A penny from 2005 struck through grease that erased part of Lincoln's face sold for $975, while another struck through a piece of metallic debris, leaving a deep crater, sold $4,780. There are also broad strikes, which occur when the collar that forms the rim malfunctions. Without the collar, the coin expands outward, losing its typical circular precision. A broad strike 2005 penny in high grade sold for $1,250, and another with a slight rotational shift reached $2,400. These coins have an unusual shape, making them instantly intriguing. Some pennies from 2005 show partial collar strikes, where part of the rim is properly formed but another part collapses. These sell for less than major errors but still draw attention. One example sold for $1.050. What makes the 2005 penny especially exciting is that it's modern, and very modern coins rarely produce extremely valuable errors. This means one of these rare 2005 era pennies could still be in circulation. It might be in a store's register, in a jar of coins sitting in someone's kitchen, in a forgotten drawer, or even in someone's pocket at this very moment. Many people have handled pennies of this date without ever suspecting that one of them might be worth thousands. If someone finds a 2005 penny that looks unusual, maybe too small, silver instead of copper, off-center, doubled, cracked, or missing parts of the design, they should take a careful look. Coins with major errors like these don't appear often, but when they do, they can be extremely valuable. Before doing anything, however, there's one rule every collector knows well. Never clean a rare coin. Cleaning destroys the coin's natural surfaces, removes important texture, and can easily cut its value in half or worse. If someone suspects they have found a valuable 2005 penny error, the best thing to do is protect it and send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The 2005 Lincoln penny reminds us that even in an age of precise, automated minting, the unexpected still happens. And when it does, it can turn a 1-cent coin into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. The most valuable errors from this year, wrong planchet strikes, double strikes, and extreme off-center strikes, have reached prices between $49,600 and $131,890, proving that even the smallest and most ordinary coin can become an extraordinary collectible. So next time you pick up a 2005 penny, take a moment. Tilt it under the light, look carefully at the rim, examine the portrait, the color, the alignment. You might discover that the coin you're holding, something meant to be nearly worthless, could actually be a rare survivor of a minting mistake, and possibly a treasure that has been waiting years for someone to recognize it. The 2017 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin so common that most people don't give it even a moment's thought. It's light, copper-colored, familiar, and something nearly everyone has handled countless times. You find it in store change, slipping between couch cushions, hiding in drawers, or simply forgotten at the bottom of a pocket. But what very few people know is that among the millions of pennies minted in 2017, especially those struck at the Denver Mint, there are rare error coins that have stunned collectors worldwide. Errors so striking, so visually dramatic, and so unexpectedly valuable that certain examples have sold for prices ranging from $36,230 all the way up to $108,430 in major auctions. To understand how a modern penny could reach such staggering values, you first have to imagine what the U.S. Mint looked like in 2017. The machines were running at incredible speed. Automated feeders pushed thousands of copper-plated zinc planchets into the presses every minute. The dies struck relentlessly. Teams monitored production constantly. But even with advanced systems, no minting process is perfect. A tiny misalignment lasting just a fraction of a second can give birth to a coin that is unlike all the rest. And when such a coin escapes into circulation, it becomes a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. One of the most dramatic errors from 2017 is the off-center strike. When the planchet does not sit perfectly centered beneath the die, the design appears shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent of untouched metal. Minor off-center strikes are not particularly rare, but dramatic ones, those exceeding 50%, quickly become valuable. A 2017 penny struck 55% off-center sold for $4,850, while another with an extreme 70% off-center strike reached $8,300 at auction. These coins immediately catch the eye, even for people with no knowledge of coin collecting. Another error from 2017 that fascinates collectors is the double strike, when the coin is struck twice before being ejected from the die chamber. If the coin rotates or shifts between strikes, the results can be spectacular. Doubled portraits, ghost-like lettering, distorted dates, and overlapping outlines of Lincoln's face. A 2017 penny showing a second strike rotated about 20 degrees sold for $13,750, while another with two nearly full impressions reached $19,100. These errors look like snapshots of a mechanical malfunction captured in metal. But the most valuable errors from 2017, the ones that have reached between $36,230 and $108,430, are the extremely rare wrong planchet strikes. These errors occur when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. When that happens, the resulting coin has the wrong color, the wrong weight, the wrong thickness, and often an incomplete design point. One of the most famous examples from 2017 is a Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet. Because the dime blank is silver-colored and smaller than a penny planchet, the resulting coin had a bright metallic appearance and parts of the design missing along the edges. That beautiful but shocking mistake sold for $36,230, and collectors still talk about it today. Even more astonishing, however, is a 2017 penny struck on a foreign planchet, likely intended for use in a foreign coin that the U.S. Mint occasionally produces under contract. The weight did not match a U.S. denomination, the metal had a darker tone, and the edges appeared slightly irregular. Yet the portrait of Lincoln was unmistakably there, though incomplete. When this rare minting accident went to auction, it reached $108,430, the highest known price for a 2017 penny error so far. Another type of error from 2017 is the struck-through error, which occurs when an object becomes lodged between the planchet and the die during striking. Anything from grease to metal shavings, even fibers from cleaning materials, can cause unusual depressions or missing design details. A penny from 2017 struck through heavy mint grease, so much that Lincoln's face appeared partially erased, sold for $1,250, while another struck through a piece of wire that left a deep indentation reached $2,150 at auction. There are also die crack errors, caused when the die begins to fracture due to stress. These cracks show up on the coin as raised lines or bumps. A 2017 Lincoln cent with a dramatic die crack across the obverse sold for $850, and another with a large cud, created when part of the die actually broke off, sold for $950. The broad strike error also appears in 2017. This occurs when the collar, the ring that forms the coin's edge, does not function properly. Without the collar, the coin spreads outward and loses its typical rim. A broad strike 2017 penny in high grade sold for $1,350, and another broad strike combined with a slight off-center misalignment reached $2,350. One of the more subtle but still valuable errors is the partial collar strike. In this case, part of the edge forms correctly, while another section appears crushed or misaligned. A 2017 penny with this error sold for $1,050, showing that collectors value even small flaws when they occur on modern coins. The interesting thing about the 2017 penny is that it is extremely recent. Unlike older coins where rare errors have been long removed from circulation, many 2017 pennies with valuable errors may still be out there today. They may be tucked away in a jar of coins, sitting unnoticed in a drawer, or circulating normally with other pennies. And because the penny is such a common coin, people rarely examine it closely, making it even more likely for a valuable error to go unnoticed. If you ever come across a 2017 Lincoln cent that looks unusual, maybe the rim looks thick or thin, the design appears shifted, Lincoln's face looks doubled, the color is different, or the coin seems smaller or larger, it is worth examining carefully. The value of these errors depends not only on the type of mistake but also on the condition of the coin, and some 2017 errors have been found in unexpectedly high mint state grades. But before anyone thinks about cleaning a coin they suspect might be valuable, it is important to remember a fundamental rule. Never clean a rare coin. Cleaning removes the original surface, damages the luster, and can reduce a coin's value dramatically. Collectors prefer natural surfaces, even if the coin looks slightly dirty. Anyone who finds a strange 2017 penny should place it in a protective holder and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified error coin almost always sells for more. The 2017 Lincoln penny shows that even in modern times, errors can and do occur. And when they do, they can transform a coin worth 1 cent into a valuable collectible worth tens of thousands of dollars. The most dramatic errors, wrong planchet strikes, extreme off-center strikes, and powerful double strikes, have already reached between $36,230 and $108,430, making them some of the most exciting discoveries of the decade for collectors. So the next time you pick up a 2017 penny, don't overlook it. Tilt it under the light, examine the edges, check the alignment of the design, and look for anything unusual. Because one small coin, one tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that millions of people have ignored, might just be hiding an error that turns it into a treasure. A coin born from a momentary glitch in the minting process, surviving unnoticed in circulation, waiting, perhaps in your own pocket, to finally reveal its true value.